Morning and welcome to Gardening 365 73. And the weather outside today, it's pretty awful. So as usual, and the weather isn't good, I'm inside in the greenhouse, just trying to do a few little jobs. And what I'm doing at the moment is I've got some smaller amaryllis that I'm just potting up. I don't expect these to flower this year, or even next year, because obviously the season. But I would expect them to grow the bulbs bigger. So I'm going to try and get all of these in today if I can. Or certainly quite a few, because it doesn't matter even if they do flower now. They're going to be too late for Christmas. So they'll be New Year amaryllis. And these are all the same variety. I don't know what they are. Somebody just gave me a job lot of bulbs. And I've grown them to this set size so far. Next thing I'm going to plant is some more winter cropping potatoes. Now these are just normal potatoes. These are earlies actually. And as you can see, the chit on the top is massive. So I'm just going to plant it so chit facing up in a container. Cover it up. And that's pretty much it. Okay, the container is too small, but I haven't got any big containers spare at the moment. So what I'll do is transplant it into something bigger at some point when those containers become available. And last week in Gardening 36572, I showed you the water butt that I filled up to keep some heat in the greenhouse overnight. And the lowest overnight temperature this week was 8.4. So that seems to be working. We haven't had any frost yet, so we'll see how it copes. Keeping everything above freezing point when the frosts come, but it seems to be working so far. Next little job, I've got some lettuce and I'm just potting some of them up, the bigger ones. Now if you notice, I don't grow an awful lot of lettuce. You don't want to grow too many because then you've got too many all at once. So I'll go a few, I'll leave a few in there and I'll put some up again in another couple of weeks time. So I've got a continuous supply of lettuce into the autumn, hopefully into the winter. Claire's taken out the last of the main crop tomatoes, so very soon I'll be developing that area to grow more winter plants, winter veg. And this has been the weather today. Obviously if I hadn't had the greenhouse, I really couldn't have really got outside today. So what a blessing in disguise the greenhouse is. I just dug the first couple of leeks of the year, and I'm not sure if the leeks or the fungus have done best this year. Got loads of little fungus growing in between the leeks. It's obviously from the compost that's been in there or the horse muck. Okay, but it shows the soil is really good and I'm pleased with that. And a couple of nice looking leeks and 3 turnips to take into the house. Quick wash off before I go in. They look like supermarket quality, but even more important, with homegrown taste. We've got some different fungus in the garden again. Quite a lot of it actually. It's all over the place. I get this most years. Different type of fungus outside the greenhouse. I love fungus. And these are magic. Whoa, absolutely lovely. We have had a significant amount of rain over the night and also in the last few days. Okay, full the pond is, the puddles. We've certainly had enough rain for a while. And not only rain the pond, that's one of Claire's flower beds. Absolutely sodden. And we are in the last day of October. So the weather is going to sort of start fading now at the moment. But look, there's still lots of beauty in the gardens. Look at that beautiful passion flower. If you look around a bit more, look at them blowing in the wind. And some of the late dahlias. These fuchsias are looking great too. Look at them. And earlier in the video I showed you me clearing this out. Okay, what I've done now is put some bubble wrap around the outside, dug the soil over. I'm now going to put some homemade compost on the top of it, and then I'm going to use this for growing winter veg. Doesn't that look great? Okay, and remember, our compost is our waste. It's our kitchen waste, our garden waste, the manure out of the duck house, but basically what most people throw away, and that is the best compost you can not buy. Okay, absolutely superb, and the plants will grow really well in there. And I can't imagine as many greenhouses that look like this at this time of the year. I'm really pleased with that. I've got calabrese, I've got pak choi, and I've got lettuce, and I'm really proud of them, and hopefully they'll grow me winter veg. Also, I've sown some leeks and some exhibition onions for next year, and I've sown 3 different types of sweet peas again for next year. Morning, and it's been another wet night, and it was hammering it down when I woke up this morning, and I've just come outside and I had a tumble and I went wallop, hitting the deck, and I've got the muddy knees to prove it. So my first job today is I've brought out my carnivorous plants. Venus flytrap here, and if you look closely, it's just starting to die off a little bit, and it has got a flower on the top that's died off. So what I'm going to do is take the flower off the top very shortly, put it into a paper envelope, and I'm going to keep and dry that. Hopefully I can get some seeds out of it. Never done it before, but I'm going to give it a go. And I've got another sort of carnivorous plant there that I'm going to do the same with, so I'm going to nip them off, put them in the envelopes first thing. So these are my carnivorous plants. I've got them outside now in a process called overwintering. It's where you bring them outside into the cold and then you stop watering them. And I won't be touching these now until mid-February, where then I'll start watering them again. They will die off now. Last week I showed you the propagator, and although there's no electricity at all to it at the minute, I'm going to use the covers just to create a bit of humidity for the seeds that I sowed yesterday. So I'm going to be putting them in there. Put them in now, and I'll just put the covers over the top of them, and we'll see what they're like next week. This is Malabar, a climbing spinach, and it's been lovely this year, but it's finished now, and you can see there's these black bits on the end. I'm guessing there's seeds in there, so me being me, I'm going to collect a few of those and dry them out and see if I can get some seeds for next year off it, and then I'm going to take it out. And there they are, ready to take in. I'm not going to take loads. Remember, one of these should grow one plant, so there's far too many there really, but I'll take them inside and dry them off.
Were performed by professionals, so for your safety and the protection of those around you, do not attempt any of the stunts you're about to see.
Ah! There's been another accident. I've got Malabar juice all over my fingers. Don't worry, I'll live. This is the top part of the greenhouse now. So the water butt you've seen before, the propagator. There's our compost for potting up, the wormery, and I've just harvested some compost out there. I'll show you that in a minute. This is the newest thing I've just brought in, obviously a recycled one. I've got my little seed potatoes in there at the moment that are hopefully about to sprout within the next week or so. Got our potting table with the carnivorous plants over at the back there, and we've got our drying rack now. Most things are dried, so it's being used for storage at the moment. And on the floor I've got my Christmas potatoes, and like I said about compost, this is the worm compost that I've just made. It takes about 6 weeks to get to that, and it's the best, even better than homemade garden compost. It's just superb stuff, worm compost. And that is basically that, but 6 weeks on. And as you can probably hear, the weather outside is just awful. I'm really glad I'm in the greenhouse. That concludes this week's episode of Gardening 365, Gardening 365 73. The weather hasn't been particularly brilliant, but as I've hopefully shown you, you can still get out as long as you can get under cover and still be quite productive, and you will get the payback at some point during the winter, so it's well worth the time outside now. So until next time, bye.